Namaste, Acharya Ji. I'm Vishnu, and I've started listening to your sessions from a session in IIT Bombay that I attended as a student. So my question is mostly on climate change. Like when we do talk to people on climate change, we most often, come across a lot of climate deniers who treat climate change as a hoax. So here, like my question is mostly revolving around what is the proof that we should give to them to challenge their stance and educate them about the seriousness about the issue that we are facing.
Welcome. You come from just the right place. You see, the proof that you need to give is not subtle, not immaterial, nothing hidden from the eyes. It is all available in the uh, research reports. It's all over the internet. It's there in the news. So all that is there. It's just that because the media does not highlight it that much, so you have to dig a little for the news and the proofs that climate change is actually happening, and not just happening. The change is actually at a pace that even scientists had not anticipated. Usually we put it in this way, that by 2025, 1.3 degrees plus minus 0.4 degrees temperature change is expected or apprehended. So scientists tend to put it conservatively. That's their job. They are not meant to create sensations. But even the scientific estimates are being exceeded. And we have more proofs than we can tolerate from all over the world. You have so much from India, you have so much from US, Europe, Australia, Mexico, China. All parts of the world are experiencing once in a century kind of extreme weather situations. So we have proofs galore. And US, you had this January wildfires in California, right? And why exactly did that happen? That happened because first of all, there was too much heat that resulted in the forest bed turning extremely dry. That also meant that the leaf fall was more than usual. And more heat in the atmosphere also means that the wind velocity is more than usual. Heat is energy. Energy results in greater wind speed. So more heat, more dryness, less rainfall, and higher wind speed, and you had unprecedented wildfires in California. And that was on the west side. Now, these months on the east side, you have heat waves that have never been seen before. The New York area and other places, right this month, June, sweltering. Closer home, India, the first 4 months of this year were some of the hottest months in the last 125 years. The first 4 months. And then in the 5th month, suddenly you had just so much rainfall. So it was the wettest month over a long period. And all of that wreaked havoc on the economy, on public health, on everything that is exposed to the elements of nature, even on employment. Because people can't work, the informal economy can't work in extreme weather conditions. Those are the people who work on the streets, on the roads, in open spaces, in factories. And we are yet not talking of agriculture. We are talking of the economy being exposed to the elements, and we are not talking of agriculture, which is still more than 50% of India's economy in terms of participation of workforce. So there has been massive damage across the world. It's been raining in Madras, in Tamil Nadu. When that part is not supposed to receive much rain as of now. And these kinds of unseasonal rains and also dry spells are being experienced throughout the country. Why? We don't want to look at it, but the temperature variation that India in particular is experiencing is twice the temperature variation that the rest of the world is experiencing due to climate change. We know the global average temperatures have gone to more than 1.5 degrees centigrade above normal now. We know that. But even this rise is not a uniform rise. This rise is much more skewed towards the Indian subcontinent, India, Pakistan, Bangladesh. So temperatures have risen everywhere, but they have risen much, much more in India. Both the temperatures and the extreme weather events, and the highs as well as the lows. The number of people who suffered from heat strokes this year, all this is in the public domain. How do people claim that they are unaware of climate happenings would remain a puzzle to me. We understand the media does not quite emphasize on that, but still, it's all around us. In many cases, the evidences would be present within the household, in the family. How does one gloss over? This is just self-deception. Self-deception equable to criminal negligence. In fact, there was this list of very, very prominent weather events across the world, right? Bring my folder. I've already talked of this one. New York, Boston, Philadelphia, the eastern part of US. They are experiencing massive heat. There is a heat dome and the nights are failing to cool. How is this something so private, so hidden, so confidential that people claim that they don't know of it? How do we feign such ignorance? This is there. So the East Coast, it's experiencing a massive heat wave that is there. This one, yes, UK. South East England, Southeast England, and England is colder than the US, right? Even among the European countries, England is one of the colder ones. 32 degrees centigrade in England. This kind of an event should ideally be so improbable that it should occur only once in 2500 years. 32 degrees in England. That's hot even by standards of some of the Indian states. For example, 32 degrees in Uttarakhand or Himachal would be taken as hot. And you have that temperature in UK, that has become 100 times more probable now. How do we say that climate change is something of the future? That it's a distant happening. It is right here upon us. It's the Anthropocene. We are in the middle of it. It's happening. Just that we are pretending that it's a little thing, or it's something that we will be able to avoid personally and for our families. Wishful thinking. This is something of the elements. It is something of the air. We are talking of CO2 ppm massively increasing in the air, increasing by 80%. It is something of the air. And how will you avoid the air from entering your house? Climate change will assault us right within our homes. It is doing that already. Just that right now the most underprivileged ones are bearing the brunt. So the luckier ones are able to afford negligence. Not that they don't really know, but they are able to somehow afford keeping the knowledge aside for a while. Let's see for how long can they pretend such ignorance. This is May 2025, and over the last 12 months, starting from May last year, that is, the average number of heat wave days across the world has risen by 30. So, on an average, if a place used to have 15 days of heat waves, that place has now 45 days of heat waves. If a place used to have 60 days of heat waves, that place now has 90 days of heat waves. And we are saying there is no proof. The proof is staring us in the face. Soon it will stab us in the heart. This year, April was so hot that in India, the average temperatures in the north spiked 5 to 8 degrees above the seasonal average. We are not talking of 1.5 degrees increase here, because that 1.5 degree figure is a little comforting. You say 1.5 degrees isn't much, is it? No. But 1.5 degrees is the average hike. The felt hike is different across different places. In India, it was 5 to 8 degrees above normal this very year. Human beings are not meant to survive when their normal ambient temperature is disrupted to this extent. And let's not talk only of human beings. Birds, animals, all other creatures are designed by evolution to survive only within narrow temperature ranges. You exceed that temperature range on either side, and the organism either won't survive or won't reproduce, or its population would drastically shrink. Coral bleaching. 80 to 90% of the coral reefs now stand bleached. Because of carbon dioxide, because of temperature. And that is a massive blow to the aquatic ecosystems, because the coral reefs are hubs of biodiversity. When we talk of their bleaching, we say now they have been turned white. Why have they been turned white? Because their color came from the life forms that stuck to them, that were present there. All those life forms are now gone. So what you see is just dead whiteness. That's coral bleaching. California wildfires, all too well known. Greece wildfires. We also had the Australian wildfires, right? That was last year. China, Mexico, storms, unprecedented storms. And NASA, finally, the report saying that the frequency of both droughts and floods have doubled over the last 10 to 20 years. Yeah. And if this looks very distant because it is very global, then India. Yes, I said the number of heat stroke cases has been increasing. The report here has the exact number. India has had the longest heat wave since 2010 and the second longest heat wave in the last 50 years. The number of heat stroke cases this year was 44,000. This number exceeds the number we have ever experienced. This is a World Meteorological Organization report. Now, next, we have a CEEW study which says 57% of Indian districts, and these are the most densely packed districts, most of them in North India. These 57% Indian districts are home to 76% of Indian population. They're at a very high risk of extreme heat, exacerbated by rising nighttime humidity, which blocks relief from daytime peaks. And this is what is contributing to more and more heat stroke cases. So, are there proofs not available in the public domain? There are, obviously. The proofs are there. If you search on the net, the proofs are there. If you utilize an AI model, and the proofs are there if you just open your eyes and look around yourself. But as they say, it's very difficult to wake up a person who is pretending to be asleep. That's what we have across the world today, especially in India.
And Acharya Ji, when we do provide these proofs, right, there are two obvious, logics that come up. They say that, you're like, presenting a pessimistic view, and like we believe in the human capability to adapt to every challenge that comes. Like we have faced a lot of challenges.
No, no, wait. It is not a question of belief. It is not a question of belief. It is a question of whether that capability can even exist. It's like we believe in the capability of ice to survive 50 degrees centigrade. Now, belief, we are not talking psychology here, we are talking physics here. We are not talking belief systems and assumptions here, we are talking hard facts here. You can have great confidence and holy belief in the capacity of ice to survive 50 degrees, but would it? Why not test things out in a laboratory rather than relying on belief? And we are not presenting a pessimistic picture. We are presenting the whole picture. Now show me which parts of it are optimistic to you. Here is the complete report, and show me which parts of it are not pessimistic. What do we do if realistic itself has become pessimistic? This is reality, not pessimism. In fact, you want to act like the ostrich by not willing to see that which you don't want to see. And instead of accepting that you don't want to acknowledge the massive scare of climate change, and it is not a scare. A scare is something distant. It is the sixth mass extinction currently happening. 70% of all wildlife, and it's not 70% anymore, it's more than 75% now. More than 75% of all wildlife has been obliterated by our species in the last 50 years, and a lot of that is related to climate change. Let it sink in. 75% of all wildlife is gone, and all that has happened almost within our lifespans. There is no pessimism in it. It's like using a thermometer and seeing that you stand at 103 degrees Fahrenheit and you say, this is a very pessimistic thing. This is the reality, and show me what you are doing about it. Is there anything that we are doing about it? The Paris Agreement was about reducing carbon emissions, right? 2015 was the agreement. And it was trying to bring emissions back, cut emissions back to a level that could match the levels that we were at in 2010. Ideally, we should have been able to match the 1990 levels, ideally. Though that's not what the agreement said. That is the ideal thing, however, if you don't want any temperature rise. Still, it was agreed that we will rather take the 2019 levels as the baseline and then reduce from there. 2019, mankind emitted 59 gigatons of carbon dioxide equivalents in the atmosphere. 2025, it's actually a little more than what we were emitting in 2019. The Paris Agreement said it has to be 44% lesser in 2030 compared to 2019. Instead of it being reduced by 44%. We are well on course to having something increased over and above 2019. Forget about reduction. We are actually increasing our emissions. Where is the optimism? Please tell me. What is there to be optimistic about? Yes, we could have understood that the situation is bad, but we are very sincerely addressing the situation and doing something about it. Here, the situation is bad, and we are only making it worse day after day. Right now, as things stands, the global average hike in temperature would be well beyond 3 degrees centigrade. And that would mean that the extreme hikes would run to 10 to 15 degrees also, especially in places like India. And it's very, very astounding, shocking that this country of ours, that stands to be hit the hardest by the climate catastrophe, is among the ones most happily ignorant to and dismissive of the climate threat. If we conduct a survey about climate awareness across the world, several countries, India would rank among the lowest in terms of awareness. People don't want to talk of it. People don't want to acknowledge it. And then that is reflected in the governmental policies. Because if you don't vote for a government that acknowledges climate change, how will there be policy decisions towards the same? The whole world is saying vote green, vote green. No echo of that is heard in India. Here the voter makes his decision on all kinds of petty issues, but not the ultimate catastrophe that we are staring at. Not staring at. The ultimate catastrophe that is buffeting us, that is killing us right now.